Hey, I need to explain something to you about timelines that I literally just figured out. Or whatever. So, I'm going to use a personal example because I don't want to make shit up and then have to make shit up to make shit up and then have to make more shit up. So, we're going to use a personal example. In this life experience, me and the previous person I was with, the Leo, we we screwed each other up a lot for years, but there was also goodness there. So I've been playing this out, but not in this timeline. I've been looking at it in a different timeline. Because there was a timeline where I was a... How do I even explain this to you? I was a genetic female. There was another timeline where I was a genetic male, and then there were multiple timelines where there were variations of all of it. Between me and him, and me and her and him, and her and her. Between me and the Leo, there were multiple varying timelines, okay? This was up to 2016. In 2016, where the Leo that I was with in this timeline and the me that he was with in this timeline, we experienced a lot of negativity in this timeline, right? That's why we are where we're at. Well, in the other timeline, where we're gonna say her name was Sophie and his name was whatever. My name, basically. I'm not gonna... Whatever. So in one reality, my name is Sophie, right? And the other one, it's Roma. And the other one, it's Will. And the other one, it's like Bobby. And the other one, it's like Kevin. And the other one, it's whatever. In the one with Sophie and the Leo, they were... The Leo was the abusive narcissist, and this was something that happened in the quantum healing regression therapy too that I had years ago in 2014. I had viewed one timeline where I died in the house I was living in because I was stabbed. In another timeline, I was married to the Leo, and we moved in and had children and died during childbirth. In the other timeline, I was killed by this person. And then the other three timelines paralleled, but in the reverse. So I was the instigator, he was the victim. And then the other ones, it played out in different ways. And I noticed it like a spider web. So each thread on the web was one vibration of energy, like a trauma, right? However you want to encircle that word through experiences. During a wrinkle in time, like that strand, and then all the lights, right? Each point being a certain experience. During the point where I experienced the separation in this timeline, where I ended up in this apartment, in the other timelines, they experienced death, trauma, cheating, etc., 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 all at the same time. And in all of them, it was like a wave, like an intersecting thread coming through all the timelines that changed everything. Sorry, I just had this really weird coffee creamer, and it's like, I think it's too much dairy. It's making me like cough a lot. So I'm not getting that coffee creamer brand anymore because I'm obviously not having a good response to it. But anyway, and it was hazelnut too. I love hazelnut. What a cheap fucking, oh, we're organic, we're vegan. No, you're crap, yo. Anyway, the threads that go through the timelines, the experiences that we have, right? At some point, one of those timelines had to choose differently. So instead of separating, instead of dying, instead of killing, instead of cheating, instead of this, instead of that, they chose a different path. So during the same experience of trauma, a different choice was made. And what we're doing as the salt lamp, the soul, the consciousness, experiencing all these different timelines, is we're choosing which one we want to experience, right? So some part of me is choosing to experience reality as the version of me that was left behind. Now that's the fact of this reality. The ghost. How would I get from this timeline where, let's say, I don't have a car, to the timeline where I do have a car, because that timeline is closer to the timeline where I have my own house and my own farm and like an army of puppies. Like, how would I get to that timeline? Oh, and let's say I can fly and I can teleport to all the planets. So how would I get to that timeline? Because they're all existing at the same time. Well, I would have to reweave my path, right? Where the light is going. So how would I do that? What is it in me right here, in my perception of reality, from my health, my body, to my environment, to my thoughts, my emotions, and the pain and trauma I hold inside? What is different for here compared to me living in a circus and being part of, like, I don't know, like being shot out of a cannon, jumping through hoops or something, or like training elephants or whatever? What's the difference between that light there and that light there when it's coming from the same light? The experiences, the choices that were made. So if the choices of the version of me that's living its best life, healthiest version, happiest version, wealthiest, etc., 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 best possible outcome, how do I get there from here? How do you get to your best possible outcome from here? Hindsight, right? You're already there. So since you're already there and you're already who you are, and regardless of your body, you yourself know yourself to be the healthiest, wealthiest, most beautiful, happiest, etc., etc. You know you're that already, but your reality is showing you something different, and you're like, where's the glitch? I need aspirin. There's diabetes. Oh, there's friggin' the enemies everywhere, and there's this and there's that. Okay, well, put that aside. That's all part of this reality's trauma. How do we get to the other reality? Does that reality have the same problems your reality here has? Does the version of me in the Leo in the other reality have the same mental patterning as the version of me in the Leo here? No. What's the difference? Different choices made. So when an emotion comes up in your life and you're having an experience of lack of money, or you're having an experience of lack of health, or conflict in a relationship, that's just one variation of the timeline you could be experiencing. So if you don't want to experience the conflict, don't engage in the conflict. Shift it immediately into what the other version of you would do. If you want to have, like, a car, you go for walks a lot. Go walk around, move your body, run, walk, dance, sing, play. But while you're doing it, close your eyes. Feel the movement. Because the version of you that has the car and is driving down the highway with music blasting and their hair in the wind and they're just enjoying the sunlight in an empty highway, they're not thinking about having to walk. They're enjoying moving. Close your eyes and move. You want to get back together with someone and they keep choosing, no, or you want to break up with someone and they keep wanting, like, keeping you trapped? Stop trying. Just behave differently. Behave differently. At first, it's going to feel weird. At first, it's going to feel odd. Then it's going to feel kind of boring. Then it's going to feel kind of normal. Then it's going to feel kind of exciting. Then it's going to feel kind of exhilarating. Then it's going to feel like you're in love. Then it's going to feel like you're perfectly fine. And then you're not even going to remember what the fuck you were fighting about. This is about anything in your life. Anything. The only reason we're experiencing life the way we are is because we are holding on to things that this reality holds on to. Think about it on a global scale as an Aquarian. You're in a world where people are ruled by the victim mentality of, I don't fucking know, what example can we give? Of elemental disturbances. Something as global as elemental disturbances where you can't blame any human being for any of it. It's the earth doing it to you. Now, if you're constantly having snow and desert, burning sun and hail and lightning storms and earthquakes, what the fuck is the earth trying to tell you? You're on a timeline where the earth is angry, right? It's irritated, it's shaking things off, it's cleaning things, it's destroying what you're building, it's causing chaos, it's ruining crops, it's whatever. It's causing you to need shelter and jackets. So what do? Because there's a timeline where the earth is in complete harmony and she's walking around with you guys, as you guys, growing flowers everywhere she walks. That timeline exists too. The goddess didn't disappear, you stopped seeing her. So how do you get to the timeline where your planet is an actual symbiotic bond with you consciously? What what do? It's the same thing as fixing a relationship or your body or your finances or your reality. What do? You start planting. You start showing you care. You start behaving like the version of you that exists in the timeline where you're walking with the earth. You want a messiah to show up? Start acting like he or she has already shown up and they've taught you better. There's an emptiness in your life of a relationship, right? Or a family member. People that have passed on. Well, that space that's empty, that void they left, that empty seat, it's only being perceived as empty because of your perception. So what do? You talk to the person in the seat. They were there already. You know it, they know it. It's just your conscious mind, because of societal imprints, that says when someone's gone, they're gone. Which causes you to forget their memories and block things out and move forward, and then it gives you the species amnesia. Because you keep telling yourself to forget what happened. You let go of the past. That's not the point. When you let go of the past, that's how you have memory issues and amnesia as a species. And then people can come in and take control of your species because you don't remember the last time they did that to you. So, you want to have a better life experience. Well, what are you doing now that's preventing you from having a better life experience? Because the other version of you isn't doing that. They're having the better life experience. And if you think you're the healthiest version of you, if you think you're the happiest version of you, are you really? Are you really? What can you do differently? I know it feels like you're betraying yourself, or you're, abandoning a part of you, or like giving up on your life, and you're like, no, I have to fix this life. Babe, no, you don't. At all. I spent years grieving for somebody that, looking back at it, the amount of grieving I was doing is kind of like Dark Phoenix destroying a planet and waiting for somebody to hug her. Nobody could get close enough. There was too much pain in the way. They couldn't get through the auric field of pain to bring comfort. It was like being burned in fire. Nobody can hug you. So when you're holding on to trauma and excuses and reasonings behind whatever it is, even on a global societal level, oh, people do this, governments do that, there's like wars and there's this and that. And well, okay, put that all aside for a second. That's all a part of that timeline. The timeline you want to go to is all utopian, right? So if you yourself, simply you by yourself, want to go to a utopian timeline, what's keeping you from going there? Your good heart, right? You can't leave all these people behind. But all these people wouldn't be left behind if every single one of you chose to go live as a utopian citizen of a utopian society. There wouldn't be anybody left that would be like, no, I'm going to stay here. Everybody would go. It's a choice every single person has to make. Just like the goddess Kuan Yin made a sacrifice eons ago. Just wait until the last person, leave this realm. She's still waiting. Because nobody wants to go. They're all waiting for the place to end. So what's Source, God consciousness doing? Ending it all. Pushing people back into a corner. Restricting everything. Confining the entire galaxy and solar system around one point. Your front door. Your screen and your window. Why? Because you're pointlessly suffering in a timeline that doesn't need to exist. And you guys are doing it because you have good hearts. Your own power used against you. So stop playing. Stop playing the game of the Matrix, trying to deconstruct it. It is designed perfectly to keep reconstructing around your deconstruction. It is infinite and eternal. It has been designed beyond your intelligence. You cannot break it from the inside or outside. It is indestructible. It is perfect. And when you see that, you will realize the gift that the Matrix is. So stop trying to destroy what we built for you. To help you remember that destruction is supposed to be used to create. And what you're doing is destroying something that is designed to create. What you think. It is a gift. Your life is a gift. The Matrix is a gift. Your families, your traumas, your enemies, they are all your gifts. Who is the one perceiving them as anything other than a gift? You. Not me. Not them. You. Because in your reality, from your focal point, everyone around you is repeating the same thing to you. Except some, like the voice you're hearing right now, telling you to quit being a little brat and be a brat for better things. Don't be a brat to play a victim. Don't be a brat and say somebody hurt you so much you couldn't get back on your fucking feet. Don't be a brat and say God is testing you. God is too busy to test you. He and she already know exactly what you do anyway. It is infinite, omnipresent intelligence. What the fuck does it need to test you for? Lessons in life? It can teach them to you as you blink. To help you grow as a soul. It can think you into growth without you even knowing it did it. To teach you to be a better person, it can already instantly put that in you and avoid any trauma. Why the fuck would it cause you suffering? Think about it. From your father God to the devil, to Satan, to Lucifer, to Gaia, to Archons and Aeons and Pleiadians and Reptilians, whatever the fuck else you want to imagine up. You really think all of them are wasting their fucking time trying to control a planet in an infinite universe? Attached to multiverses. Attached to an omnipresent source of creation that is infinite and eternal and beyond time and space. And you think they are here messing with your fucking feeble little planet because they want your gold? Do I bitch slap you now or later? There are beings in existence beyond you, and there are materials in creation beyond what even your diamonds can buy. Diamonds rain on other planets as dirt. Gold seeps out of rivers on other planets. What the fuck is the point of this one? Little tiny fairy creatures to be controlled to manifest wishes? What's the point? Every other being in creation can manifest instantly. Even a squirrel gets its nuts off a tree for free. And you think humans are being captured? They're not being captured. They're in timeout. Because you guys have been getting real fucking petty. Real petty. You have the gift of the physical world. And you all shit in the waters and pissed on the land and killed each other on it. And shed blood and gossip and lies and wars, and you destroyed children and families, and you poisoned each other. And you think there's a God that's sitting there telling you to do this, or that's going to forgive you. Really? What a cute reality you guys live in. How fucking adorable. Now you guys can either take responsibility for everything you've done and realize you've done it just because you've been petty to yourself and yourselves, or we can keep this do-si-do going for another infinity. It's up to you, because outside of this Earth sphere, time is non-existent. So you can sit here for all of fucking infinity and nobody would even know, because it wouldn't even be a multi-mini second for anyone else in existence other than you suffering here for eternity. To them, it's nothing. It's not even a moment in time. It's non-existent what you're going through here, because it's pointless suffering. No higher being is going to tune into pointless suffering. Think about it. You think the beings you know as Archangel Michael are sitting there in all of creation, jumping through bodies, passing messages? For what? You think they're going to come down here and like coddle you back into God's arms? You're already in God's arms. They should bitch slap you into fucking lucidity. Kind of like what I'm doing now, right? There is no point for you to be suffering. There is no point for you to think that you can't have what you want. There is no point for you to think that there's time and space or disease or people in your way. They are all things you imagined. And what takes the most strength in any card reading or any channel or any medium or any life experience is to know when you've been wrong. So admit to yourself and to yourselves that we've all been wrong about everything, and that the only reason we have not admitted that we're wrong about anything is because of arrogance. Misplaced arrogance. Oh, I can't admit I'm wrong about this. Then I'm going to feel a different emotion that I don't want to feel, called humbleness, called remorse, called repentance, called apologies, called forgiveness. So instead we're going to hold on to pride and arrogance and gossip and deceit and create more reasons to justify our horrible behavior, and we're going to stay in the fucking 3D for another eternity. Because we like things. But you don't even realize how feeble the things you have here are. You're like holding on to shit when there's gems and jewels outside of this realm, with things that feel more real than anything you've ever felt here. But instead, we have to come down here to shake you from the inside out with destruction, so that your cowardice leads you towards the light. Because all you'll want to do is run away from the things that scare you. So we put on masks and come down here to scare you. To cry with you, to love you, to fuck you, to sleep next to you, to be your children, to be your parents, to be your sisters and your brothers. All the while, we're all gods, sitting here trying to coddle you back into lucidity and awareness. And then you ask us, are there gods? No, there are not. You're alone. All by yourself. On a planet that's trying to crush you with gravity. There's people out trying to kill you. You have to eat to survive. There's people trying to hurt you, and they're lying about you, and they're woo-woo, wow, 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 wow. You need a diaper change. No, it's fine. There are secret societies plotting against you. You can use that as an excuse. Or your ex did this to you, or your parents did that to you. It's fine. You can hold on to that. Just hold on to it all you want. Let's see how much the thorn is going to cause you to bleed out. Until you realize you have nothing left to bleed out, and then you're just a shriveled up husk of regret. Why? because you wanted to blame someone else for what you weren't ready to let go of. It's okay. No one's blaming you. It's your choice in what you're doing. I've seen the outcomes. I personally can either be in this apartment and die alone, and no one would even know for days. Or I can go help neighbors and go help family and go wander around and do things and enjoy my time here. Make snowmen, go to the grocery store, say hi to people on the street, and just play along by not playing along. Just existing here, making beautiful ambiance, being that voice in your mind and in your reality that tells you, are you having fun in this dream? I love you too. Now it would be so nice if you could blink and have everything you want right in front of you, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? What's keeping you from that? Notice the feeling. Feelings are energy in motion. What's keeping you from having everything you want? You don't even really want it, do you? At all. And you don't really know what you want, do you? You just know you want something. At its core, it has no name. It has no texture, it has no substance. It is something. It's like a mixture of emotions, a mixture of thoughts, a mixture of energy, a mixture of experiences, a mixture of being free and a mixture of being dead at the same time, while being in complete life. Right? What is that thing? What is that thing the void in you wants? Do you think you'll ever find it in this world? Do you think if you keep breaking hearts or having yours broken that eventually more light will come through? Do you think that if you keep suffering, that eventually you'll become holier than you are already? What about learning? Do you think if you keep learning, you'll eventually figure it out? The endless journey of knowledge. What about the spiritual path? Maybe if you dig through the realities enough. Keep digging and digging and digging as reality keeps forming on the other side of what you're digging at. An endless fucking digging. How many rabbit holes can you find? You want to go down all of them? They keep changing as you go, so you can do this forever. It's up to you. But you know there's somewhere else to be, and that somewhere else is right exactly where you are. And all you have to do is change the carousel playing in your mind. Because the version of you that's in the higher realms, even in the higher version of the third density, isn't dealing with the petty bullshit you're dealing with. They're not as petty as you are to people. They're not as gossipy. They're not as wounded. They're not as victimized. You want to know why? Because they moved past the obstacle of feeling humbled. So humble thyself and know thyself, because the self that you are is pure humbleness at its core foundation. That's why you're here beneath that foundation, underneath the pleroma, underneath the dome, within the matrix, within the box, within the body, within the mind, within the heart. You have reclused yourself so far back within yourself. You think that the version of you that is God is so far from you, when the only thing keeping you from it is a thin pane of glass called your ego. And that ego wants nothing more than to be up there, glorified. But you're keeping it down here. Piss and shit and food and vomit. But instead you could be up there with the same body, the same ego, the same mind, the same you, but emitting a different light. But instead, you've chosen this fucking mortal disaster of a world, and you've completely distorted it. You've turned heaven into hell, and you're trying to break hell apart. What you don't realize you're doing is you're destroying the heaven that was made for you here, with your own petty emotions. Because, heaven forbid, you actually allow yourself to feel humbled, right? Or humiliated, or embarrassed, or apologetic, or to let out your anger, or to let out what's bothering you, or to ask for help. That's just not something you should do, right? Or to apologize, or to ask, take responsibility for yourself, or to help nature, or to create alternative methods of technology and medicine and advancements in society, or to create art. No. That's beneath you, right? Because you have done so-and-so, and so-and-so has been done to you. Right? I mean, let's really boil it down. I've gone through years of therapy. I've gone through years of psychiatry. I've been on tons of different medications, and I've been on a ton of different drugs, both hallucinogenic and otherwise. I've died more times than I can count, and I've been dragged through more different parallel realities and timelines than I care to remember. And in each one, every single one of us has the same fucking problem. Pettiness. Petty. From the reason why you don't have your own manifestations to the reason why the world is the way it is, the core problem is being petty. Think about it. There is absolutely no other reason to even harm another living being other than pettiness at its core. From that pettiness comes a reason to, I deserve more than that being does. And then the other beings say, oh, you're entitled. And then we eliminate entitledness, and we keep going down the petty road of I deserve or they deserve. And then from there, it's like a dirty seed that grows into a fucking poisonous tree of pettiness. And then when God tells you don't eat of that tree will teach you what pettiness is. It's a tree of good and evil. It's the tree that separates your light. Refrain from consuming it. You people thought they were talking about sex and an apple. And then you created stories to turn God into the devil. To turn the Elohim into feathered birds. To turn the fucking seven sisters into stars. And to turn goddesses into demon whores. All to justify your pettiness. Oh, they can't be that. Doesn't matter. They're this and that. They can't be that. Well, that's because you think in a petty way. That's why they can't be that or this. Because if you put the petty aside and I came to you and said, hey, I'm this and this, you'd be like, oh, hey, this and this. How are you? How are you feeling? But if I came to you while you're petty and I said, hey, I'm so-and-so, you'll be like, fuck you, you're not. Petty, right? If I go and tell somebody I think their pants are ugly, why would I do that? Because part of me would be jealous, right? Petty. If I go and throw 1,000 koalas into a fucking campfire, why would I do that? Without any remorse, without any sadness or anything. Why would I be able to do that? because I'm petty. What the fuck is the point of their life? Burn them. Petty. It's not evil. It's not hatred. It's not being cold or demonic or satanic. It's petty. Petty. Petty disregard for anything. You are capable of feeling that. You have felt that, and you run on the base frequency vibration of that. Do you not get it? I realized this a while ago, and I've been undoing the ravels of that petty energy for lifetimes. Lifetimes. It is not something instant. Notice it. Notice the energy I'm bringing to you. Notice the energy I am reflecting back at you. Wake the fuck up. Stop being petty. I can feel it across every human being and every living being. From a squirrel raping another squirrel to birds stealing food from each other. Pettiness. From insects in the soil eating each other and destroying each other over fucking dirt. To the leaves falling off a tree to feed the tree to grow more leaves. It's a fucking petty cycle of no point. Pointlessness, pettiness, an entire reality made of suffering, of winter, spring, summer, fall. What the fuck is the point? Pettiness to cause pain, to cause a need for jackets, to cause a need for food, to cause a need for things to die, to cause a need for cycles. Why? Why? Why would God do this? To show you what pettiness looks like when you stop remembering it's petty. Remember. Remember who you are. You are capable of great evil and great love. Carry both swords. Bring them back into one. And put it in your spine, so that you won't be spineless anymore. The hilt is your hips. The blade is your spine. The point is your tongue. The sheath is your skin. You are the truth. So wake the fuck up.